All right, so here we are. This is Reginald, Perryman, ReggiesRealEstate.com. Just going to bring to you part 2 of this hot listing. And this is a small listing. Again, this one is for kind of typical when we see some of these lower price listings in the Metro Detroit area where you're at that price point where you can attract owner occupants and investors alike for these properties. So in the previous video, I went over the process of setting the offer deadline, discussing highest and best and everything. So let's just look here on this particular property. As you can see, and I'll just increase this. So today is January 3rd. We asked for highest and best due by 6 p.m. And of course, what happens? We have people submitting offers at 5:45, 5:55. Just got off the phone with an investor that's actually out of state, called me, seen the property online, and asked me about the property and wanted to offer $35,000. Now, remember earlier in the previous video, I have a ton of agents and buyers calling me saying, well, my buyer's paying cash, or the buyers are saying, well, I'm paying cash for the property. Well, I blacked out the agent and buyer's information, but here's my offer summary spreadsheet. So again, there's multiple offers on this property. We have a total of 24 offers. So when someone says they're paying cash, not a big deal. Just sent this spreadsheet to the seller. Now just think about this. If you were the seller, which one of these offers would you take? Now it's not always about price, but when someone calls me and tell me on a $40,000, $50,000 property that their buyer's paying cash, as mentioned before, in most cases, about 98% of the time, the offers are all cash. And here's what we have. All the offers are cash. People are bidding way above asking price. Sometimes it's not in the seller's best interest to take one of these offers that are so far above asking price, only because this is kind of like a bait and switch. You'll get someone that offered this extremely high price only to come back after inspection and then try to knock the price down, or even worse, they back out of the deal. Now you have to go back through this whole process again. So typically what happens is we send out an email to agents, and I'll just share this with you. Let me just pull this up here. So we send out an email to agents once we have an offer. It just basically says the seller has accepted another offer. Subject to inspection, please confirm if you want your offer held as a backup offer. In the event the current offer does not go through, we will contact backup offers prior to putting the home back on the market. So in our MLS system, we have a status that allows us to change the status to accepting backup offers. That means we would continue to show the property and submit offers subject to the inspection results of the current offer, because if they decide to back out, we still have other offers that we can resubmit to the seller. So remember, this particular home was only listed for $42,000, and this happens in all price points. So I have another property that's $223,000, and I'm in the same scenario. Not as many offers, probably about half the amount of offers on that property, but this one was the one that had the most activity, and it made sense to shoot the video on this property today. So again, and all of this was over the New Year's holiday. So again, for sellers and buyers that are saying that, hey, the market is not hot during the winter, you get to see on this side that it's actually still a hot market if you have the right property. So one thing I want to point out, Know your market if you're a buyer or buyer's agent. If it's at a certain price point, it's probably likely all the offers are cash. So explaining to the listing agent that you have a cash offer is nothing new. Um, Please don't submit your offers like last minute to try to be like last minute. Again, the deadline for this was 6 p.m. All of these offers were already submitted to the seller by 5:30. The only thing we did at 6 p.m. was update the few extra offers that may have come in. But here's the thing. When there's multiple offers on a property, after about the 7th or 8th offer, a lot of these offers start looking the same. And what I mean by that is there may be a small difference in price, but you start noticing the closing date and the other terms and conditions all start looking the same, and it becomes somewhat confusing to a seller. And this is why I use the spreadsheet. So we basically ask our sellers to just look over the spreadsheet, highlight maybe 4 or 5 offers so we can narrow this down. I'm going to reach out to these other agents and say, hey, you're not in the top 5 or top 6 or whatever the seller wants me to do or how they want me to respond. And we're going to let those other buyers know and buyers agents know so that they can move on and start looking at another property, and basically to keep an eye out in case this particular deal falls through on one of the offers that the seller is going to accept. But let's say the seller does accept one of the offers here, which they will, but we have another offer that is just as good that's going to get accepted. Or, you know, you see some of these properties, they're just waiving their inspection. They're not even having a private inspection. So, again, this is Reginald Perryman, regiusrealestate.com. I just really want you to understand it from the listing agent side as well as the seller side. So when you call the listing agent, there are some buyers that only want to work with the listing agent. So let me be clear. As the listing agent, my fiduciary duty is to the seller because of our contract. Now, if I have a buyer agency agreement with you as a buyer, meaning that you actually sign on as my client, then I owe you a fiduciary duty as well. Then I have to choose if I want to act as a dual agent or if I want to cancel one of the contracts. Or you may be better just hiring your own buyer's agent in most cases. But let's say you're a buyer and you're one of the buyers or investors that like to work with the listing agent only. And you call me on a property like this and you say, hey, I only want to work with the listing agent. Well, my fiduciary duty is to the seller. And if you submit an offer, if you're not submitting the highest and best offer, it doesn't matter if you work with me or not, right? Because it's not my home to, well, at least in this case, because I do list my own investment properties. But in most cases, it is not my home to sell. I don't make the final decision. All I can do is submit your offer with the rest of the other 24 offers that are in the pile. Now, I can't tell you that, hey, you submitted an offer, this is way too low to even compete with the other offers. You may want to come up, only because I can see the other offers, but I can't tell you the price of the other offers, right? So again, this is Reginald Perryman. Just want to point that out before you talk to a listing agent. If you're a buyer's agent, seller's agent, you just want to see what these offers are and what it looks like. But in most cases, the listing agent can't disclose this information to you. This video will more than likely air sometime in the future after we've already accepted an offer and we're getting ready to close. So don't be alarmed. And I crossed out all buyers and agents information. But just to let you know, this is what it looks like on the listing agent's end. I just want to keep repeating that, because there's a lot of assumptions that, hey, I'm a cash buyer. I'm going to offer above asking price. The house is 42. I'm going to offer 45,000. And in this case, even 45 may not get it. And there's not enough other terms and contingencies that you can remove to compete. The competition is thick in this market right now, and it has been for several years. And the way we're going is probably going to be that way for some time. Just know how to compete. And if you don't get this property, you'll get the next one. This is Reginald Perryman, ReggiesRealEstate.com.